Good evening, Ruskin enjoyers. Yes, it's time for our predictions video. We're going to take a look at all of these new Ruskins which rotated into the Rust store about 4 hours ago, and we're going to try our best to identify which of these skins potentially could be the best investment, or which of these skins could potentially give us some delicious looking profits. Sound good? Right, so let's just get straight to the point. This week, you might not fully realise, but there's a lot of skin creators this week that got their first ever skins accepted. And fair enough, that's fine. But when you kind of look at this compared to the previous weeks of the summer, it is a lot more tamer. And it's quite clearly a lot more calmer. If you go look at my previous predictions videos, so last week, the week before that, go look at how many sales we had for quite a lot of those skins. And you could probably realise this is definitely a lot calmer compared to those weeks. Which probably is a good indication that people want to insanely maybe these skins aren't that in demand, and it's quite clear that I'm probably just going to want to stick with doing builders this week. I'm sure you probably already thought about that as well, but just because there's low demand for the skins doesn't necessarily mean we can't make a profit out of them. I will elaborate that a little bit more later on in this video, but just take that into consideration. So this is definitely a very calm week. We still have another week of July next week, and then we have the force wipe for August the week after that. So maybe next week might be very silly. Maybe next week might be very calm. But for force wipe, at the very least, I do expect some interesting skins to be accepted by then. So just keep your head up. This is normal, and we still can potentially make some profits. But out of all of these skins that have rotated in about 4 hours ago, which of these skins potentially look like the best ones to invest into? And I'm going to be honest with you, it's going to be the two best-selling skins already at the moment. So let's start off with the likes of the Starfish Rug. So a lot of you probably don't instantly a lot of you probably don't instantly realize, but this is a transparent rug, and normally a normal rug would probably take up like all of this space. You can see me kind of highlighting what to expect, or maybe up to here. When you have it in game, you'll see exactly, because you can normally see the outline. If you drop it on the floor, you could normally see the outline of what you're supposed to see, but the texture, of course, has transparency, so you can see through it. This has been used as an advantage, as strategy. What do you mean, Hedge? Well, basically, yep, it's a very goofy looking starfish. But you should realise that a lot of other rug skins have done quite nicely recently, because people like to use this to be able to look outside their windows. Do you remember the likes of the heart rug? Quite some time back, there was a TikTok video made showcasing how to utilise this. Basically, same thing, transparent rug. There's a lot of space that you can see through for what the rug should be encompassing. And essentially, so let's just quickly take a look at the workshop. You can see loads of space there that you can see through. But what we need to show off is earlier this year, you can see a very noticeable spike in demand. The strategy is something we actually can show off to you, because the kelp rug was actually trying to lean into it. We did talk about this, didn't we? When you have a window frame like this, you can put a rug over it. Because it's transparent, much like the heart rug and, of course, the kelp rug, you can see through it, and you can notice and look around and see if anybody's up to no good. They might spot you. They might try to shoot you. But because you have a rug there, it should, absorb enough of the damage so you don't die. And then you can quickly seal it back up. And then, yeah, there's people out there. They're hostile. You know that you should probably deal with them. And you know where they are currently positioned. Sound good? So this is a strategy that I'm fully in the belief that people are already aware of. And when they saw this rug, they probably thought, yeah, okay, that's exactly how I'm going to utilize it. You never know, people might actually just want this, and they might want to just put it on their walls and their ceiling and on the floor. Fair enough. It's a goofy, funny, silly looking rug. We tend to see these every now and then, but like I said, I get the feeling this probably came out because of the Abyss update, underwater theme, perfectly fine for what it is. This does not glow in the dark, however. All right. If you're wondering, oh, does this glow in the dark? No, this does not glow in the dark. So that's something that isn't that good, unfortunately. When it comes to deployables, you definitely want to have some glow in the dark deployables, because in the early parts of the game, yeah, you probably don't have electricity set up, or you probably can't even afford a fireplace. But do you get what I mean? It's nice to have glow in the dark deployables, because if you're in the pitch black, you can still navigate around your base because of all the glow in the dark deplorables all around, so you know where the rug is, or your boxes are and whatnot, and yeah, and the doors, and yeah, you can walk around, you can figure a way out. So that is unfortunate, And this is why I'm mainly in the position of, because this is abnormal, this will be appearing at an earlier time compared to all of the other regular skins. I would rather wait and do my buy order first, look at the buy order support afterwards, then I'll consider whether or not I want to buy it. Because I am not 100% sure it's going to sell that much. Like, don't expect this to sell as much as the like of the kelp rug. So, how much did the kelp rug sell? Almost 50,000. I don't think we're going to see similar sales like the heart rug either. I think this is going to be very tame. I reckon we're probably going to end up between like I reckon maybe around 25,000. If it's more than that, I am going to be surprised. I am going to be surprised. Honestly, I'm thinking it's going to be fairly low, and that might work out all right for it. But I don't 100% feel like it's going to retain its value. It's a bit awkward, and quite a lot of the newer rugs that have come out in recent times aren't exactly doing super great. So if I could just quickly go to here, newest. Kelp Rug's doing all right. Kelp Rug has demand. You know, this has 447 listings on the Steam market. Oh no, it's got a little bit less. Regardless, it's still holding up nicely. It's retaining its price. It's staying, you know, it's holding up. The demand is there to keep the price up, even though it's got a ridiculous amount of quantity. It doesn't help that there's a big fat 85 there. If that disappeared, you know, that could easily go up in price, but obstacles, obstruction resistance, it's always there. It's unfortunate. So let's see how this turns out, all right? Don't need to rush into it. Let's take our time. Now we're, of course, going to talk about the Redemption bolt-action rifle. So, number one thing that we need to point out, this is the first bolt-action rifle skin to be accepted into a Rust store after 2 years. The last one was the Poseidon bolt-action rifle. That came out in June of 2021. So, what do we have here now? The Redemption bolt-action rifle. The newest Redemption weapon skin to be accepted. Mr. Slanosta, you are on a roll. So, are we actually going to potentially see any more Redemption skins on the horizon? Yes, we are. This past weekend, we saw a custom SMG. Oh, I didn't mean to click that. We saw a custom... Where am I going? Custom SMG. There we are. Yes. So, there is another Redemption skin on the horizon. And I'm led to believe, at some point in the near future, we're very likely to be seeing some clothing and armor skins soon. So, all the better. I mean, if you're wondering, if clothing and armor is accepted after there's a whole bunch of weapons in the collection being introduced, does it really make that much of an impact? Well, with the concentric armor being introduced today, someone just bought out all of the concentric assault rifles, so I would have reason to believe yes. Also, Skullkiller last year, we started off with Skullkiller weapons, and then they didn't really go up in price that much. They kind of stagnated instantly. They couldn't really go with any clothing and armor sets. But then the people that made Skullkiller weapons also made Skullkiller clothing and armor. Guess what? All of the weapons went up in price because we had all of the core pieces, tier 3, tier 2, and hoodie and pants for Skullkiller being introduced and accepted. So yeah, if we do see Redemption clothing and armor on the horizon, all the better. And I think it is coming. And with all the acceptances it's been getting, I think it's very likely going to be accepted. I mean, if you look at what was accepted today, I think Redemption would be welcomed very nicely. Anyway, moving on. So, here's the question. How often are you using a bolt-action rifle? That's what you need to figure out. Gun demand. How often are you actually making them? How often are you actually using them? You know, especially in comparison with the L96. You know, are you preferring to use the L96? Do you actually manage to get to use the bolt-action rifle? That's something you need to consider. Because if the gun demand does work out for it and whatnot, then yeah, the demand to use a skin would be there. Like, remember how we always point out with the likes of Thompsons? They're always reliable. Resources to get them to make them isn't too bad. It's always usually one of the most used weapons, and therefore Thompson skins do very nicely. High gun demand, high demand for the skins, higher skin prices. It's as simple as that. So, with the likes of bolt-action rifle skins, because we haven't had a skin accepted in over 2 years, quite a lot of them are actually in the positive, as you can see here. Plus, quite a lot of them did come out quite some time back, so not that many of them in circulation. But with the newer ones, as you can see here, 25,000 and 30,000, ooh, damn, they're not looking super great. Not terrible, mind you, but obviously not a profit. So, with the likes of this Redemption bar, how many sales do you reckon we're going to end up with? I think this might actually be one of the lowest selling Redemption skins. And for that, it's potentially, well, I mean, LR300 when it all started off. I reckon at the very least we're going to see 20,000 sales. I reckon we are going to go higher than the LR300 and the M249. I'm just not 100% sure where it's going to end. But between 20,000 to 30, between 20,000, I reckon, you know what, between 20,000 to 25,000 is my answer. Will it flourish? The next question is how likely we're going to see another bolt action rifle skin being accepted, a different one that is. I do my Rust Workshop skin checks. I constantly keep an eye on the workshop. I do see the occasional bolt action rifle being submitted onto the workshop and not being accepted. I probably see maybe 3 or 4 good ones every month, and they don't get accepted. But this one, a part of a well-established and in-demand collection, that clearly got accepted today because of that. So I think at the very least it will retain its value. It's also abnormal. We don't need to rush into buying it. We can do our barters first, and then we can look at the barter support afterwards, and then we can make the decision. But by default, I don't think we're going to be seeing a lot of bolt action rifle skins being accepted so soon from here on now. Look at the L96. We saw one being accepted last year, and then this year we've had 2 more being accepted. Would we potentially see some more bolt action rifle skins being accepted this year? Maybe, but I reckon maybe just 1 or 2 more at most. And then next year, maybe just 1 or 2 being accepted. Things might change, you never know. It's up to Face Punch, but they seem to be very picky, and I don't think we're going to be seeing a lot more of them. So all the better for the Redemption bolt action rifle. I think it's going to be working out quite all right. So I'm not rushing into buying it. Buy it first, then look at the support, then make the decision. Okay, so those are the 2 skins that I think are going to be reasonably okay this week. All of the other skins, unfortunately, I don't have a lot of faith in. I'm looking at this with a financial perspective. If you like the skins, by all means, buy them, use them, enjoy them, support the skin creators, keep them motivated to keep wanting to make more skins, right? It helps them out a lot, trust me. But, yeah. Now, okay. We did establish earlier on that this doesn't look like it's selling as much as the previous weeks. After the first few hours, quite a lot of the previous Rust stores had a lot of sales. When you look at the likes of these, it doesn't look like much. So this is the point where I must point out that if we hop over to here, I did make a video not too long ago dealing with low demand skins. Now, just because a skin doesn't necessarily have a lot of demand when it's in the Rust store, doesn't necessarily mean it's always going to have low demand. At some point, some new things might appear that could potentially add on to it, like expanding a collection or whatever, and then suddenly everybody likes it. A very good example is something I already mentioned earlier, Concentric. Concentric AK-47, nobody cared about. And now that we saw this being accepted, this got bought out. This was selling at about 94 cents yesterday. Now it's selling for just under $4, or rather the early listing available is $4. There was an increase in demand. I wonder why. Makes sense? So, if you think you might see more of these skins in a collection potentially being accepted, there's a decent chance. Like, there's one thing I didn't realise today until I looked. This is actually part of a collection. There was a Panther AK-47. Yeah, that got bought out as well. So that right there, that came out 5 years ago. I didn't realise. Maybe we'll see some more Panther skins. That's cool. That's cool, So, do you understand what I've said to you here? Just because it doesn't look like it's necessarily going to be in demand at the moment doesn't mean it's always going to be low in demand. Take, for example, this Concentric set. Listen, it might not sell a lot, but if we do see Tier 3 and Hoodie and Pants being submitted to the workshop, you should still potentially anticipate that being accepted. Why? Well, if it does get accepted, there will still be a spike in demand, and there still will be a spike in price for it. I made my point in this video back over to here because I talk about the likes of the low poly collection. Wasn't really in demand when it first came out, but when new core pieces appear, still spikes in demand, still spikes up in price. Right, cool. So I feel like that's all that needs to be said. So keep an eye on the sales, make a reasonably okay decision, put down a decent buy order when they become marketable. And yeah, we only have 3 abnormals this week, these 2 and the SAR. So yeah, but one thing I should also point out is this week we had more early picks. Out of the 12 skins, 4 of them were early picks, and that is the Rug, that is the SAR, the double barrel shotgun, and the crossbow. Yeah, so we already were aware of these over the past weekend because I did my Rust Workshop skin check. So back over to here, yeah. I am really going to push to you the idea of you need to keep an eye on the Rust Workshop. You need to be aware of what's being submitted because we are seeing more and more early picks and it's becoming a very frequent thing now. So the earlier you are aware of new potential skin continuations appearing on the workshop, the faster you can potentially, throw some money down, make an investment, and if it works out all right because you got in early, you're more likely to make much better profit. Sound good? Like, yeah. Yeah, and of course, you don't have to look at the whole video, for example. You could just go to the description, click the link here for the collection link, and here you are. Here's all the newest skins, and early pick, and early pick, early pick, and early pick. All of these literally only appeared just a few days ago in the Rust Workshop, but they're accepted. And this happens quite frequently now, so the more you know. And with that, thank you very much for watching. I hope that was insightful, and best of luck to all of you and your investments. Maybe it's better off we just do builders this week. The choice is yours. Just keep an eye on the sales and then try your best to figure out what might potentially be the better approach. I, of course, will be doing my 48-hour analysis still, and I will be there to talk about skins with my abnormal video, because we do have quite a lot of regular skins this week, don't we? So just keep an eye on all of the information that I'm putting out in videos, and hopefully it will help you all out. Catch you later. See you, goodbye.